Hi, I'm Darren Lee, and I fix broken hearts for a living.
Hi everyone, welcome to NHMed Accounts, a series where we dive deep into stories from healthcare professionals on why they chose the healthcare journey. For today's episode, we have Dr. Darren Lee, a cardiothoracic surgeon.
So our first question is, could you describe your healthcare journey so far? Like, what has been your experiences thus far?
Although I come from a medical family, my story in healthcare starts properly with an undergraduate medical school in 1993 for 6 years. A year's house job in the United Kingdom, and then about 13 years worth of postgraduate training, basic and then higher surgical training. So I finished that in 2013 and have been a specialist ever since, cardiothoracic surgery. Initially, my undergraduate school was in Ireland. My early specialist training was in the UK, and then I've come back here to Singapore to finish up.
Why did you decide to pursue healthcare, and more specifically, why cardiothoracic surgery?
Okay, in general, I'm here to help. Healthcare is the most, personal form of help that I could think of at the time. And it just seemed to me I wanted to make the world better, one life at a time. The way I remember it for cardiothoracic surgery is I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon before I realized you had to go to medical school before you could train as a cardiothoracic surgeon. So you have no idea how disappointed I was when I found out I had to get the grades to enter medical school first. Okay. The stories that inspired the cardiothoracic surgery interest were that of a pediatric cardiac surgery unit in Bristol in the southwest of England, and where they were doing complex open heart surgeries on patients, newborn babies with congenital heart defects, giving them a lease of life when previously there would have been none before.
After learning that you had to go to medical school, did that make you question, do I really want to go into cardiothoracic surgery?
No, it just meant that not getting the grades earlier, it just meant that I had to put more work into all of my schoolwork and other things just to try and get a seat in a medical school.
What do you think is the most significant moment in your journey so far, and what is one lesson that sticks with you up to this day?
The one lesson that sticks with me all of the time, not just for me, but watching my other colleagues as well, is we don't have all the answers. Although we have a large and expanding evidence base from which to base our diagnoses and treatments, there are still new diagnoses in particular coming forward for which we do not yet have a track record. And for those, we do have to approach everything together with the patient and the other physician colleagues involved. And we have to try and trash out something that works for the patient individually, one patient at a time.
What would you say is the most rewarding about what you're doing?
The most rewarding thing about what I do is, changing the world one life at a time. It is to do with the fact that the nature of what we do, in surgery in particular, is directed at and benefits one patient in themselves. And then by extension from there, of course, it also affects the lives of their nearest and dearest as well.
So you used to be a clinical tutor and a lecturer when you were working in public institution. So what is a lesson or the most important values that you try to impart to your students and trainees?
Right. This goes back to our roles as doctors, from the Latin to teach. While normally we would think of this as educating the patients and the public population, the automatic extension of this role is to education, not just for our juniors, but for ourselves as well. But specifically, it's this role of of perpetuating the chain of knowledge, extending the chain of knowledge down through the juniors as an extension of our service. That's why I've gone on to take up clinical tutor roles whilst at the NUH. The values I'm looking to impart are, well, the patient comes first. What's good for the patient is good for us. And everything else flows essentially automatically from that maxim.
I'm sure that many of the viewers here are prospective medical students or those interested in joining the healthcare industry. So, what is one advice that you would give to those interested in pursuing a job in healthcare?
Don't do it. Joking aside, you need to have a very full and frank conversation with yourself as to why you're going to do this. When you figure out what your motivations are, you'll know if it's the right fit for you. But you do have to be honest with yourself. And that's the most basic requirement. Everything else, again, flows from there.
That's all for today's episode of NHMed Accounts, where we've heard some really insightful and meaningful responses from Dr. Darren Lee, and we really thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
See you in the next episode. Signing off.
Dr. Darren Lee.